You have the right to remain silent. Anything you do say can and will be used against you in a court of law. Just kidding. Anyway, greetings, this is the Astro 30 here yet again, playing with a little bit of an experimental circuit here, which is available all over the internet. So we're using two 555 timers here, and this 555 timer controls this 555 timer. This one's configured as an Oscilloscope multi-vibrator, and its output goes into the control input of the second 555 timer, which is being used as both a voltage controlled oscillator as well as an amplifier. And yes, the 555 timer can be used as an amplifier to drive a speaker. Not that you'd really want to, but you can. So I don't know much about this circuit apart from it's available all over the internet. I don't know how it sounds. I also don't know what the oscillation period is. We'd have to test it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to build it up on a breadboard, and we're going to do some tests on it. Okay, and a short time later I've got the circuit breadboarded up. Now there's a reason why the speaker is encased in that cotton tips box, is because the circuit is obnoxiously loud, so I don't really want to annoy my roommates. So if I just touch the speaker to ground, as we can hear, it works. Kind of not the result I was expecting, but yeah, it is what it is. It's more of a hee-haw siren than it is a wavering siren that goes up in frequency and then comes back down like a normal police siren is. But it's a fun experiment. So let's scope around the circuit here. So I'll scope the output of the first IC, and we'll just see what the waveform looks like. You go there, you go there, and so as expected, that's what it's doing. That's a pretty typical Oscilloscope multi-vibrator output, and it's basically what the first IC is doing. So let's scope the output of the second IC. So we move from there to there, and as we can see, that it's basically the duty cycle is changing. And according to this, we're getting close to 10 volt peak to peak out on a 9 volt supply, which is interesting. However, we can't really measure the frequency by the looks of things. That's what it looks like with the driver connected. So yeah, probably should load the output to measure it properly. Right, so I've got a 10 ohm resistor, half watt, in place of the speaker driver so that the output of the circuit is loaded. And that's the output we're getting, although it's not that stable. That's a bit better. It's really hard to get a good trigger on this, and it's also hard to see what the frequency is supposed to be. I've just changed the trigger point, and yeah, it's still not really giving us a frequency reading. So anyway, there we go. Annoy your housemates and your friends with this annoying oscillator. Anyway, what can you use it for? Well, you could probably use it in toys, or basically wherever you need to just annoy somebody. And for added extra effect, I've added a blue and a red LED wired back to back basically on the output of the first 555 timer, pin 3. So it gives us the flashing blue and red lights. So here's a look at the final schematic with the addition of the red and blue LEDs. The cathode of 1, the red one in this case, goes to pin 3, and the anode of the blue goes to pin 3. And these two resistor values are chosen for how bright you want the LEDs to be, based on their forward voltage and expected current. And it'll just add to the effect of having a blue and a red flashing light. So the circuit works, and it didn't quite work as I expected it was going to, but then again, you could probably modify these capacitor and resistor values to give, you know, that possible effect. Change the configuration from an oscilloscope to another type of oscillator, and you may get that wavering ooh type, you know, frequency that you hear of normal police sirens. I just believe it goes from, you know, less than a kilohertz to about 400 hertz, something like that. That's what the range is. I'm not 100% sure on that. This capacitor here gives it its final output tone. So if you mess with this capacitor, you can get really weird sounds coming out the speaker. This capacitor just keeps this IC stable, and this capacitor is what controls the on-off, on-off, on-off cycle. Anyway, it's up to you to play around with it. I'm quite happy with how it turned out, and it worked first time. Great. So anyway, I'm going to leave this video here. If you enjoyed it, please remember to go down below, like, comment and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And this is the Astro 30 saying, see ya, have a great day.